You will not believe what happened when an overly aggressive HOA vice president, Margaret, a woman, whose entire identity revolved around the placement of decorative yard gnomes, decided to have a massive pickup truck towed. Not because it was illegally parked, but because it didn't match the aesthetic. But Margaret didn't check the plates, didn't check the decal, and didn't notice the massive star on the door, because that truck, ... That was the sheriff's personal vehicle. And when Margaret's precious HOA power structure came crumbling down, the fallout was devastating. Stay tuned to see the irreversible, career-ending mistake that cost her everything. Welcome back, Petty Patrol. Before we dive into the most epic HOA smackdown of the decade, I need you to do two things for me right now. Smash that like button until your finger hurts, and subscribe for your daily dose of Karen chaos. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of the drama. Let's get into it. Our protagonist, let's call him Deputy Ben, wasn't just any resident. He was a working sheriff's deputy, living a quiet life in the upscale, but increasingly oppressive Willow Creek estates. Now, Ben drove a massive 2024 Ford F-250 pickup. It was his work vehicle, his lifeline, and often his impromptu office. It was a beast, matte black, legally parked, and had the standard but subtle County Sheriff's Department door decal. The HOA bylaws in Willow Creek were infamously strict, but Ben had meticulously checked. Commercial vehicles were prohibited, except for personal law enforcement vehicles that are regularly used for duty. Enter Margaret, the HOA vice president. Margaret was a self-appointed tyrant, a neighborhood busybody who saw the HOA board as her personal feudal kingdom. Her focus was on curb appeal and architectural harmony, which, in her mind, meant the total elimination of anything that looked remotely like a work truck. Margaret had been sending increasingly snippy, handwritten notes, not official HOA letters, but personal, passive-aggressive missives left under Ben's wiper blades. Our vehicle's size is intimidating and lowers property values. Please park your utility vehicle elsewhere. Ben, a man who dealt with genuine danger every day, simply crumpled the notes. The final straw for Margaret came after a general board meeting where she tried, and failed, to pass an amendment banning all non-garage parked trucks. Frustrated by her lack of official power, she decided to take matters into her own hands. She looked out her window on a quiet Tuesday evening, saw the F-250 sitting perfectly in Ben's driveway, and decided that the aesthetic violation was enough to warrant immediate, unauthorized action. She pulled out her phone, found the number for a predatory towing company she knew was always looking for a quick buck, and made a call that would not just end her reign, but end her life as she knew it. She told the dispatcher that a massive, unregistered commercial truck was illegally parked and needed to be removed immediately, citing HOA violation 3.b, inharmonious vehicle placement. The tow truck was already on its way, lights off, rolling silently into Willow Creek, prepared to execute Margaret's petty, vengeful order. The following morning, Ben walked out to his driveway, coffee in hand, ready for his early shift. The F-250 was gone. Just an empty, pristine patch of pavement. His blood went cold, but only for a moment. This wasn't a theft. No glass, no mess. This was a tow. And he knew exactly who was behind it. Before even calling the police, because, let's be honest, he was the police, he checked his mailbox. There was an official-looking citation. Violation of Willow Creek Estates Covenant 3.b, unauthorized utility, commercial vehicle. Vehicle has been impounded by order of the HOA vice president. Release requires $450 fine paid directly to the HOA office and $250 to the impound lot. The audacity was stunning. He immediately called the towing company listed on the notice. The dispatcher confirmed Margaret's order and the location. A lot 40 minutes away, notorious for its exorbitant daily fees and zero-tolerance policy. Ben's internal sense of justice, a feeling usually reserved for hardened criminals, ignited. He drove down to the HOA office, not in uniform, but in a pressed polo shirt and jeans, keeping his professional identity under wraps for now. Margaret was there, smirking, radiating petty satisfaction. "Oh, Ben," she cooed, "I'm so sorry about your truck. Maybe next time you'll consider the neighborhood rules." When Ben calmly explained that his vehicle was legally exempt and that she had executed an unauthorized, possibly illegal tow, she just laughed. I have the full authority of the board, Ben. Pay the fine, or enjoy walking. She then dropped the real bomb. She had already filed a complaint with the county claiming Ben was abusing his authority by keeping a commercial eyesore on his property and had requested the board look into disciplinary action against him. This wasn't just a tow anymore. This was a direct, calculated attack on his career and livelihood. Ben walked out, his hands shaking with controlled rage. He was now down $700, without his essential work vehicle, and facing a potential internal investigation. All because a power-mad woman didn't like the look of his truck. He spent the next 3 days having to borrow a patrol car, his routine completely appended, while Margaret continued to parade around the neighborhood, clearly savoring her victory. The frustration was overwhelming. The HOA bylaws were vague enough that a good but long legal fight was possible, but he needed a knockout blow. He felt utterly helpless, trapped in a bureaucratic nightmare engineered by a narcissistic tyrant. The knockout blow, it turned out, was already in his hands. Ben realized that Margaret's actions were driven by her own ego, not board consensus, and he had the evidence of her hubris. His first move: obtain the towing records. He had a colleague from the sheriff's records division discreetly pull the logs for the tow company and the HOA's official correspondence. The documents confirmed 3 critical facts. 1. The tow was initiated solely by Margaret, without a quorum vote or official board motion, violating the HOA's own governing documents. 2. The reason given to the tow company was unregistered commercial vehicle, a lie, as the sheriff's decal was clearly visible and exempt. 3. The $450 HOA fine was directed to Margaret's personal Zelles account, not the official HOA bank. Embezzlement. But Ben saved the best for last. He had a dash cam. Every deputy is required to have a personal dash cam in their work vehicle for liability, and Ben's had a motion-activated feature. It recorded Margaret walking up to his truck, using her phone to call the tow company, and then physically placing the official-looking but bogus citation under his wiper blade. It was a crystal-clear video of the entire illegal operation. Ben didn't call a lawyer. He called his immediate superior, Chief Miller. He laid out the evidence: the dashcam footage, the falsified records, and the attempted personal financial gain. Chief Miller, who drove the exact same model of F-250, was furious. Ben secured the meeting, a private emergency session with the full HOA board, Chief Miller, and the county attorney's office.
At the meeting,
Margaret arrived smugly, expecting a gentle slap on the wrist. Ben didn't speak. Chief Miller started by displaying the dashcam footage on the boardroom screen. The video played silently. Margaret's face, her phone call, her placement of the fraudulent notice. When the video ended, the county attorney simply stated, "Margaret, you not only ordered the illegal tow of an official county law enforcement vehicle, constituting tampering with government property, but you did so for personal, unauthorized financial gain." The board members stared, aghast. The final resolution was immediate. Margaret was stripped of her VP title and banned from the board for life. Ben's truck was immediately released, and the HOA was forced to pay all associated costs. The look on Margaret's face, as her entire power structure evaporated in front of the people she once ruled, was pure, magnificent terror. The fallout was swift and brutal. Within 24 hours of the emergency board meeting, the county attorney's office, feeling that tampering with an official vehicle was a gross violation, presented Margaret with 2 options: immediate, unconditional resignation from the board and a written public apology to Deputy Ben and the Sheriff's Department, or face criminal charges for embezzlement and theft of services. Margaret, seeing a felony charge loom, chose the former. Her public-dictated apology was printed in the monthly Willow Creek newsletter, a humiliating center-page retraction of all her prior actions. But that was only the beginning. The HOA board, in a move of self-preservation, immediately levied the maximum possible fine against Margaret for bringing the association into gross disrepute and exposing it to significant legal risk. The fine? A staggering $10,000 due in 30 days? Her neighbors, who had suffered under her petty tyranny for years, suddenly found their voices. The neighborhood Facebook group, once policed by Margaret's iron fist, erupted with stories of her past abuses, finding a cancer patient for their chemotherapy-related lawn maintenance neglect, harassing a young mother over the color of her child's sidewalk chalk, and numerous other petty tyrannies. The tide had turned completely. The most satisfying moment for Ben, however, came from the tow company itself. After learning they had illegally impounded a sheriff's vehicle based on a fraudulent order, they were terrified of losing their lucrative county contract. They didn't just refund Ben's money, gave him a personal cashier's check for $5,000 for loss of use and inconvenience, a clear bribe to avoid litigation. Ben accepted it, of course. Margaret's life was now a perfect picture of ruin. She was publicly shamed, financially crippled by the fine, and her neighbors actively shunned her. Her kingdom of petty rules had been reduced to ashes. The long-term effects of Margaret's single catastrophic mistake were permanent. Not only was she legally banned from serving on the HOA board again, the county attorney's office used the incident as a case study to create a new, ironclad regulation limiting HOA authority over registered law enforcement vehicles, forever safeguarding Ben and any future police resident from similar abuse. The Willow Creek Estates HOA, chastened and humbled, repealed nearly all of Margaret's over-the-top aesthetic rules, making the neighborhood a genuinely pleasant place to live for the first time in a decade. But Ben had one final, perfectly executed act of passive-aggressive revenge. Margaret's obsession, you'll remember, was the aesthetic harmony of front yards. And her favorite rule was the one that limited non-natural lawn ornaments to a maximum of one non-offensive item. The day after she paid the $10,000 fine, Ben purchased a massive custom-made aluminum lawn ornament. It was a life-sized, highly detailed replica of a sheriff's department star, mounted on a solid concrete base. He placed it squarely in the middle of his front lawn, right beside his legally exempt matte black F250. It was the most visible, most defiant piece of aesthetic disharmony in the entire community. And because he was now a hero and the rules were rewritten, no one, especially the newly terrified HOA board, could say a word. Margaret, now reduced to a shadow of her former self, watched this daily from her window, a constant, glittering reminder of her downfall. The final nail in her HOA coffin came 6 months later. Unable to bear the shame, the community's contempt, and the daily sight of the sheriff's star, Margaret put her house up for sale. She moved out of Willow Creek Estates, defeated and destroyed within the month. Ben, the sheriff's deputy who became a legend, now runs uncontested for the HOA board, promising one thing: zero tolerance for petty tyrants. Victory, truly, belongs to the righteous. Unbelievable, right? The sweet, sweet taste of justice. Tell me in the comments, what was the most shocking moment of this entire ordeal? Was it the dashcam reveal or the $10,000 fine? Let me know below. You don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to know when the next Karen meets her match. I'll see you on the next one.